Shedeur will start this week. Obviously, number one job of a quarterback is to win. So excited to get that first win under his belt. And then next thing is improvement. Are there things that he can do better? Absolutely. We've already talked about that with him. He has the mentality that he will, make the adjustments to the speed of the game, make the adjustments to what people are giving us to make those improvements.
Could you see him get so much more comfortable last week when he was back in that role?
Without a doubt. And I think, again, there's such an adjustment for players coming out of college, regardless of position. But when you've started your whole life in high school and college, and then there is that transition, and that comes for everybody. But the message we always have around here is you have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And
the Cleveland Browns have just made the most predictable yet simultaneously shocking announcement of their catastrophic season. And Shannon Sharpe isn't buying Kevin Stefanski's sudden change of heart for a single second. Shedeur Sanders will officially start against the San Francisco 49ers next week. But here's the thing that has Sharpe absolutely fired up. This decision reeks of forced hands, backed into a corner desperation, and a head coach who never wanted this kid under center in the first place. Subscribe to the channel if you love Shedeur. Comment "Go Shedeur" if you want to see him win. Let's break down why Shannon Sharpe is calling out one of the biggest coaching flip-flops in recent NFL memory, and why the Cleveland Browns organization might have just saved themselves from a full-blown mutiny.
Shedeur will start this week. Obviously, number one job of a quarterback is to win. So excited to get that first win under his belt. And then next thing is improvement.
Kevin Stefanski stood at that podium earlier this week with all the enthusiasm of a man reading a hostage note. Sure, he said all the right things about Shedeur being the starter, about improvement, about winning, but Shannon Sharpe saw right through it, and so should you.
Obviously, that goes on all of us. That's coaches, that's the players, the quarterback, where we can clean up some of our operation, but big plays down the field. Obviously, that first one to IB was...
This is a franchise that has burned through 42 different starting quarterbacks since 1999. Read that again, 42. That is nearly one new quarterback per season for over 2 decades. The Browns have cycled through almost as many starting quarterbacks as America has had presidents. And we're talking about a country that's been around for nearly 250 years. The math is absolutely devastating. 26 years of Browns football versus over 2 centuries of American democracy. And the quarterback carousel spins just as fast as the peaceful transfer of power. It would be funny if it wasn't so tragically pathetic. But here's where it gets spicy. Shannon Sharpe doesn't believe for 1 microsecond that Kevin Stefanski woke up Monday morning and decided on his own that Shedeur Sanders earned this opportunity. Not after everything we've seen. Not after the games that were clearly being played with Dillon Gabriel's return from concussion protocol.
Are there things that he can do better? Absolutely. We've already talked about that with him. He has the mentality that he will, make the adjustments to the speed of the game, make the adjustments to what people are giving us to make those improvements.
Sharpe laid it out with surgical precision. This wasn't Stefanski's choice. This was a decision made for him, whether by owner Jimmy Haslam, general manager Andrew Berry, or the collective weight of a fan base and locker room on the verge of revolt. Think about the context. The Browns hadn't won a road game in 13 straight tries. When Shedeur Sanders walked into that Las Vegas stadium for his first NFL start, the Browns were mired in a 17-game losing streak for quarterbacks making their debut. The franchise was drowning in its own incompetence, gasping for any sign of life. Then Shedeur Sanders happens. The kid goes out there, leads the team to their first road victory in almost a full calendar year, shows flashes of that deep ball threat, displays pocket presence, goes through his progressions like a seasoned veteran, and suddenly Myles Garrett is smiling wider than he has all season.
Running away from it is Sanders. He's looking long. He's got a man. Caught at the 10-yard line. Bonds. He's down to the 1-yard line. It'll be first and goal.
But Shannon Sharpe wants you to remember something crucial. Kevin Stefanski didn't want to admit any of this was happening. The subtle resistance, the carefully worded non-commitments, the obvious preference for bringing Dillon Gabriel back once he cleared concussion protocol. It was all there, hiding in plain sight. Here's the uncomfortable truth that Sharpe is dancing around but everyone can feel. There are politics at play here that go way beyond football. When you draft a quarterback in the 5th round who numerous scouts and coaches believed was a 1st or 2nd round talent, when you have former NFL head coaches like Antonio Pierce saying he would have taken Shedeur much earlier, when you have Tom Brady personally working with this kid and endorsing his abilities, something doesn't add up.
We Brown.
Antonio Pierce didn't mince words. He said straight up that if he'd stayed with the Raiders, Shedeur wouldn't have fallen to the 5th round. He and Mark Davis were locked in step, ready to make that pick. Pierce called Shedeur someone born to play football, one of their top choices. Those aren't throwaway compliments from a coach trying to be nice. That's a professional evaluation from someone who had every intention of betting his career on this quarterback. But Pete Carroll came in, wanted Geno Smith, and suddenly the Raiders had a different direction. Fair enough. Coaches want their guys. That's how the NFL works, except the Browns are different. The Browns didn't draft Shedeur at all. They passed on him completely, watching him slide all the way to Cleveland in the 5th round like some kind of cosmic joke. And when they finally brought him in, there was no commitment, no plan, no real belief that this was their quarterback of the future. Until he won a game, until the fans started hoping again, until Myles Garrett started looking like he actually believed in the offense for the first time all year, until the locker room made it crystal clear that if Dillon Gabriel trotted back out there as the starter, there might be consequences that no amount of coaching speak could smooth over.
You know, because including the fans.
Shannon Sharpe drives home a point that should haunt Kevin Stefanski. You don't consistently win in this league when your quarterback play requires perfect defensive performances, special teams touchdowns, and lucky bounces just to scratch out 17 points. You need a guy who gives you hope, not just survival odds. And that's what Shedeur Sanders provides right now. Not a guarantee, not a finished product, not Patrick Mahomes walking through that door, but hope. Real, tangible, believable hope that this kid can actually play the position at an NFL level and maybe, just maybe, become something special. Shannon Sharpe was clear about Shedeur's profile. Shedeur's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Josh Allen. He's not going to scramble for 50 yards and make defenders miss in the open field.
No, he's not.
Shedeur is a prototypical drop-back pocket passer who processes information quickly, goes through his progressions, and gets the ball out of his hands to playmakers. Does he take too many sacks? Yes. Does he need to stop giving up ground and maintain better pocket presence? Absolutely. Will the coaching staff need to drill into his head that not every play needs to be a hero play? 100%. But here's what Sharpe recognizes that maybe Stefanski didn't want to admit. All of those things are coachable. You can teach a young quarterback to take the check down. You can drill pocket discipline. You can build a system that protects a quarterback who isn't going to run a 4.440. What you can't teach is the arm talent, the accuracy, the composure, the ability to push the ball downfield and keep defenses honest. Shedeur Sanders has those traits naturally, and that's why this 5th round selection always felt like highway robbery for whoever took the chance.
Now, itself.
Trent Williams versus Myles Garrett is going to be appointment television. Garrett is in the absolute zone right now, hunting down the single-season sack record like a man possessed. 13 sacks in his last 4 games. He's not just good, he's historically great right now, having a season that demands all-pro recognition and potentially Defensive Player of the Year hardware. But Sharpe's focus isn't on the matchup. It's on whether Kevin Stefanski will actually commit to developing Shedeur Sanders, or if this is just a placeholder move until the next manufactured crisis gives him an excuse to pull the plug. The truth is harsh but necessary. Kevin Stefanski's job might depend on Shedeur Sanders succeeding, whether he wants to admit it or not. The Browns can't afford another failed quarterback experiment. They can't afford another wasted season. They can't afford to look like the same dysfunctional franchise that has been the punchline of NFL jokes for a quarter century.
Starting quarterbacks, wearing shorts or the tank top.
Shannon Sharpe has effectively thrown down the gauntlet. Kevin Stefanski has been publicly put on notice. Now the world waits to see if Shedeur Sanders can prove that the answer was sitting there all along, just waiting for someone brave enough to give him the ball and trust what happens next.
I think sinners.
The Cleveland Browns are finally giving Shedeur Sanders his real shot. Whether Kevin Stefanski wanted to or not, whether he believes in this kid or not, the decision has been made. And Shannon Sharpe is watching very, very carefully, attempting to discern if this move stems from genuine conviction or is merely a forced play from a coach who never wanted this quarterback under center. One thing is certain, if Shedeur Sanders succeeds, Kevin Stefanski better be ready to admit he was wrong. And if he fails, Shannon Sharpe will be the first in line asking why it took the organization so long to find out.